Guys, I'm excited. Today we have Jen Cui of Jen Cui Health. She is a holistic life coach, mindfulness based. She helps individuals transform, their self-care routines and facilitate a great relationship with bodies. I'm reading her bio right now. I know these things, but she wrote it so well. Bodies, mind, food, fitness, and life. So she founded Jen Cui Health. Over the summer, she hosted so many Zoom fitness and mindfulness connections. So creating such an incredible community. She's awesome. And so, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to hit some really good questions. So let's get you on here. Something funny about Jen is at the end of all of her emails, hi. At the end of all your emails, you have Jen Cui and then how to pronounce it. And
Yeah.
I love it. I love it so much because you've probably heard like Jen Cui and all these different things.
Yes.
But it's sway with a to sway, guys. Like Jen
Yeah.
Cui. Can you say it out loud?
Yeah, it's Jen Cui.
Yeah, cool. I like it.
Yeah. So it's like sway, like a tree swaying, but with the TS sound, which is like kind of what you hear in like Shih Tzu. So
Yeah.
it's like sway. Yeah.
Way. Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to have you on for forever because initially we met on a quilt. Did we meet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quilt. And she started out the quilt session. I've talked about quilt a few times on here, but with
Mhm.
a mindfulness meditation, and it just was like so perfect. All of us after the meditation were so zenned out. And anything Jen said after it, we're like, yes, whatever,
Mhm.
whatever you say.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. And yeah, I was really excited to come on here. It's just life before like October was just so go go go. So I'm really glad to like be able to finally sit down with you and like I really want to say like thanks for doing this series because you have brought on so many amazing women. So yeah, I'm really excited to like be here with you today.
I'm excited. Yeah, I've been hunting her down, you guys. She's had such a crazy schedule. I'm like, anytime now, Jen, get on here.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know the premise of this, but
Mhm.
something that hit me when we have been had conversations back and forth is you went to school and had a cohort, or I want you to talk about the entrepreneur program that you learned in
Mhm.
school, but
Yeah.
also just give us a little background into, where you were pre all things Jen Cui Health. And
Mhm.
then, let's dive into a little bit of that entrepreneur stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So, when I was at the University of Southern California, I was part of the entrepreneurship group called Sigma Eta Pi. It's actually a national chapter. They have a chapter at like UC Berkeley, UCLA, University of Michigan, Stanford, a couple other chapters, and they're a really awesome organization to help young, thriving entrepreneurs like really create their dream and put them through a program to help them actually go from concept to reality. So my first semester, I joined them. Used Jen Cui Health as my business that I wanted to grow. And then after that, I was actually the VP of recruitment. So I was trying to help get in as many people as possible because I'm like, this is an awesome program. Like, you guys need to come and do this. And then on top of that, I was also an entrepreneurship minor. So I graduated with a degree in health and human sciences, as well as a minor in entrepreneurship from the Marshall School of Business. And the Lloyd Greif Center of Entrepreneurship there at USC is phenomenal. It is crazy the amount of knowledge that is there with other professors. One of which is like one of my mentors and has been for the last 2 years, and he has been very pivotal in terms of helping me just like be confident in my business and grow it. And just like it's an amazing program. So if anyone ever has the opportunity to go do that or do a master's there and like entrepreneurship, like I would highly recommend.
That's incredible. I want to find a way for people that aren't in LA to, I
Mhm.
don't know, I wonder if they have any resources I can dive into if you know it, but
Yeah.
resources and things that they maybe had given you that we can hack the system and give to people. So that could be offline,
Yeah.
talk about after, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, what one thing I think a lot of people work out of is that there's the very specific frameworks that entrepreneurs will go out of, and some of them follow like the lean business, like lean. was it lean business model or
Yeah.
something?
Hmm.
And then we also learned the business model canvas, which I think was really helpful. So for those of you out there who are starting to, grow a business or want to really figure out if it's viable, like try out the business model canvas, see if you can, make it work out that way.
And that is basically testing your ideas and seeing if it can be profitable and running through kind of like an audit program before you launch your company, right?
Kind of, yeah. So, failure, I think, in business is inevitable,
Hmm.
right? And it's also how do you deal with failure? Do you have the grit and the resiliency to go through with that? And so that's kind of where my mindset was always was I always feel like for me, I embody that grit and that mindset very well. But I also had this fear of failure that I wasn't super aware of, right? And that
Hmm.
just like stemmed from childhood and whatever. So that kind of goes into what you were asking about, like before Jen Cui Health, where I was kind of at. I was honestly super lost with what I wanted to do in life. I was originally a business major, so I was a World Bachelor of Business major from USC, which is essentially you study business administration at USC, then you go over to Hong Kong, the University of Science and Technology, do a year there, then you go over to Italy in Milan, and you do a year at the University of Bocconi, and then your fourth year you get to choose where you want to finish up on. You get a degree in business administration from all three universities around the world, and it's a cohort of like 45 people every year. And I luckily was able to get in that. And I was super psyched about it. Came into it, figured out that I hate and cannot do econ for the life of me. And I was like failing the class, ended up dropping it my freshman year, was so depressed, was like, what am I doing in life? Um, and just fell back on one of my lifelong passions of psychology and just learning about human nature, learning about, why is it we do what we do, and found health and human sciences. And that was really where I thrived and still wanting to, pursue business in some facet because I could never imagine myself working at anywhere. There was no company that was like, this is my dream company. Like there was no like chasing after internships because I just wasn't passionate about it. It wasn't something that drove me.
Hmm.
And so I pursued my entrepreneurship minor.
Yeah. It's you hit on so many things that I've been thinking about lately.
Yeah.
Like, those days that we all have. I just have been talking to some people the last couple of months, especially during this year of
Hmm.
you are so focused on like what you just said. You're not chasing internships. You weren't chasing companies. There's no
Yeah.
company out there that's your dream company because of blank, blank, blank. And so
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm going to create my own company. And you have
Yeah.
the tools to support you in that, right?
Hmm.
And then um, it's helpful, I think, like connecting my brain thoughts here is
Hmm.
a lot of people, one of my clients in my, side hustle day job, he does like job searching boot camps and things to help people
Hmm.
job search. But then where are the people that are saying, maybe it's not a job search?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a career launch pad or an
Yeah.
incubator or an
Yeah.
entrepreneur minor or program. Instead of, you searching for your dream job, maybe you can create your dream job and it's actually
Yeah.
possible. And like you said, you have your mentor from school that has carried into your professional life to
Mhm.
boost your confidence and to give you the tools necessary to succeed. It's just so organized. Like it's just so perfect what's happening in your life right now.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, nothing is perfect for sure. There's a lot of, ups and downs, as you know, with
Mhm.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing is like people have to really ask, why is it that you want to do what you do? And that's always where it's going to start off from, especially with business.
Yeah.
And the reason why, if you're thinking about creating your own business platform, if you want to be a serial entrepreneur, all those things, why it's really important to ask why is because it's so difficult to keep
Mhm.
going, right? Because while I wasn't interested in chasing like internships at Google or like, should I learn how to code and all this stuff, everyone around me was,
Yeah.
right? And USC is such a high achieving school, it seems like, and in my organization too, we have graduates who are at like, Google, Accenture, Microsoft, Apple, all, EY, all the big top firms in consulting and tech. And it is crazy because I was just like, we're in an entrepreneurship society, yet still so many people are seeking out the traditional route after graduation.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that like a lot of people are kind of these quote unquote entre employees. So like they're very entrepreneurial
Mm.
driven, but want to work at a big firm either to gain experience, then maybe later on create a product, right? Or maybe have a side hustle of a product. And that's okay too. But for you to jump into being on your own, not being like, oh, I have a resume that doesn't have super shiny internships or maybe any at all. It's scary to think that in 5 years, if your business fails, right, if you try to go get a traditional job, you're not going to have anything concrete, quote unquote, to put on your resume. They're going to be like, oh, so you started and ran a failing business for 5 years, right? Like, what? So I think it's really important to just have that faith in yourself, and really get through it because you can do it. Your mind will give up before your skills, your mind, like, your actual tangible skill sets will.
Yeah. That's so good. I need to write this out and get it transcribted. That could be a blog post in its own. But
Yeah.
something that you talked about, and I'm thinking on LinkedIn right now, everyone's doing a ton of, it's like the new Facebook, like it's reviving
Yeah.
itself somehow,
Yeah.
which bores me because LinkedIn's so boring to me, but also like as a creative, but also as an entrepreneur and business owner, shoot, like LinkedIn is super important. So, side note, but when you go and scroll people's feeds and their profiles on LinkedIn, let's just say, and you see it's like their name and they're the founder and director, even though that's who I am, I have my business name and then I'm the founder and, visual strategist, whatever. I immediately discount them only because of the way that we've all, like you said, even though all of those people are like, we're an entrepreneur society, um, those people are still going to Google or starting at big companies just to get that like resume line to show that they've been someone at some point. So when they launch, they have those credentials. And even though I work with entrepreneurs and I am one, I still see, I'm like, oh, you were Stephanie Tussler at Stephanie Tussler. What did you actually do? Like, are you that important? Where is your credentials? Like, where's your credibility? Can I
That
actually?
is that is all imposter syndrome.
Yes, it totally
100%.
is.
Oh my
It
gosh.
totally is. And
Yeah.
it's hard because if I'm thinking that, then what about the people that aren't entrepreneurs and they're
Yeah.
scrolling your LinkedIn and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
she's Jen Cui at Jen Cui Health. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much ways to go. And I'm not always one to talk about the negative things happening in the world. I like to focus on the positive because there's way more of that than the negative. But the confidence and the not imposter, like working on your imposter syndrome thing
Yeah.
is so huge. And I'm hearing you say that in more or less words. So that's a side note. But like as you're working on your business, it's just you, right? Or do you
Yeah.
contract out?
It is just me right now in
Yes.
terms of my live workouts. My sister is a certified yoga instructor, and
Yeah.
she has been hosting a couple yoga workouts a week, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I will say a big, big help in my business has been my partner, Sam, because he is a very talented videographer, film like
Mm-hmm.
person, editor, all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so he has helped me edit a few videos and like, take my Instagram photos. So that has been really helpful. Um, but yeah, so other than that, in terms of like all the admin, customer service, like, the work with the clients, that is all me.
And see,
Yeah.
that right there is your resume. And
Yeah.
that's something that, like, oh, you're an entrepreneur. Oh, you're an entrepreneur. Like, you're
Yeah.
doing 12 jobs
Yeah.
at once and getting a better
Yes.
return on ads or interest, return on whatever,
Yeah.
than if you were working for somebody else and the
Hmm.
sky is the limit, right?
Yeah.
So the side thing to that is you push out so much content, Jen. Like you are insane. Get on her email
I
list, you guys.
try.
Follow her feed. She pushed out so much content that you'd think she'd have a team of 25 to 30 people, content,
Oh my
like
gosh.
graphics. Honestly, it's amazing. And everything she writes is based on a hook, a pain point that her clients have, and how she solves and transforms that. Not to go into like marketing jargon, I want to keep this simple, even though I could, because I have that knowledge and I know
Yeah.
you do too.
Yeah.
But to keep it like high level, how are you creating so much content? What are some things that you do to push them push out all of that stuff and also run your business in the background and then also work with your clients one-on-one because
Yeah.
and also we need to get into like what you actually do, health coach transformation. But help
For
us with your
sure.
content strategy. How are you doing that?
Yeah, those are all really good questions. There's like a lot of macro to it.
Yes.
And so I think the way that I approach it is very much so based off of my feelings and intuition. So I think the thing when it comes to entrepreneurship is that you are such a multi-passionate and eclectic person, right? Entrepreneurs are not people who are made to do one job.
Mhm.
In fact, it's the people who have always been like, I don't know what I want to do with my life because I have so many passions. So when you talk about like, oh, what did you want to be when you grew up, right? For me, it was I wanted to be nine different things. I wanted to be like a
Yes.
part-time veterinarian, part-time lawyer, part-time author, painter, teacher, filmer, whatever, all this stuff. And what I realized was entrepreneurship is that job
Yeah.
because through that I have been able to do all those things where you have to kind of act as your own lawyer because you have to write up stuff for your LLC. You
Yes.
know, you have to like be an editor and feel like, you know, you have to edit your photos and videos and all this stuff. You have to teach, you have to write your own content. So that is one of the things that I learned from it. And when it comes to content strategy, that is one part where I feel like could be better if I wanted to lean into it more.
Yeah.
So the way that I do content is really just what is relevant and what speaks to my audience.
Mhm.
And it's my current audience and also more of the audience that I'm trying to connect with more.
Mhm.
So something that you had just said of like, you know, this imposter syndrome and seeing yourself as like maybe lesser so, or like you're judging yourself based off of how far you think you've come in your business versus what other people might see, or what they truly think. Something like that was inspired me to create my last quote post, because my Instagram is like photo quote. And that quote was, you know, you are not who you think. Wait, what was it? I am not who you think I am. I
Yeah.
am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am.
Oh, yes. Wait, I saw that and it was like, hold on. That is
Yeah.
good. Go, say it again. I'm
So
on your
it's
feed right now.
I am not who you think I am. I am not who I think I am. I am who I think you think
You
I
think I
am.
am.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
I had heard that on a podcast I was listening
Hmm.
to, Jay Shetty's On Purpose podcast, which I highly recommend.
Yeah.
And he said that, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because
Yeah.
not only could I resonate with it, but I know so many of my clients feel the same way. One girl in particular who I've been working with for the last, I don't know, like half year, her challenges with body image, with self-worth, with relationships. You know, all of these things stem from what she believes others are perceiving of her, right? It's
Hmm.
like, and a lot of that comes from your own insecurity, right? Where if you think that you're fat and ugly, let's say, right? Very common for women, even though that's not like, I'm like, you're beautiful, right? So if you think that you're fat and ugly, then you see the world as they think that I'm fat and ugly.
Yes.
And because they think I'm fat and ugly, that's why they do what they do. That's why that guy ignored me. That's why that girl is like, doesn't want to be friends with me.
Mhm.
That's why, you know, I wasn't able to get the loan that I wanted or whatever, right? So that is the lens that you see it from, but you don't know what they're actually thinking, right? It is your own false beliefs based off of your own insecurity. And so when we can shift that to look inwards and actually understand what is it that I think I am, that's where a lot of change can happen.
Mm.
So I take to bring this back to like my content and what I post, a lot of it is from my own personal story, struggling with body image, struggling with disordered eating habits, depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. I mean, you name it, like I've probably dealt with it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of micro traumas in my life, but then also these bigger, more salient memories that
Mhm.
I had that really impacted the way that I viewed life. I was in a place where I was ready to end my life for like 6 years, just getting worse and worse and worse throughout the time. And I got to, you know, rock bottom my freshman year of college. And I was hospitalized for 3 days for mood stabilization. And during my stay at the hospital, this mental health facility, one of the girls on my floor attempted suicide.
Mm.
And it was crazy to watch, to be in that situation. It wasn't even something that I thought that would be something that I would go through. I was like, I would never expect myself to like get to a point where I'm like, maybe you should like seek help. Because I was almost the person who was giving help, right?
Yeah.
So that was a really big like alert. I mean, like, hey, maybe you should take care of yourself. Maybe you're not going to be selfish if you get enough sleep. Maybe, there's something here that you need to work on. And surely, once you start that journey to personal development, once you start that journey to healing and actually make the choice that you want to get better, that you're not going to stay a victim in your own story anymore, that you're done throwing yourself a pity party, then you go through the work. And it's hard. It's so hard. It's so challenging to be in a place of growth because it hurts. You have to cut off people, you have to cut off habits. And that's why I think a lot of people stay stuck of where they are. But going through all that also made me extremely strong. It made me see life in a very different perspective. And that also gives me access to unlimited content
Yeah.
because I just pull from my experience. I pull from my experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Authenticity is key. I think that's
Right.
what it can be summed up to is
It is so
authenticity is
key.
key.
It's lagging. I'm going to give it a sec to catch up.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story. There are so many incredible things about being able to share your story and then find a way to pull from it to help transform others. And that's exactly what you do in your company. And so, um, we could dive. I'm gonna keep it high level because I want to go so deep right now, and that's for
Yeah.
like November, December. Once people have seen like 12 of these or something.
Yeah.
um, Basically, going over what you just said, you're using your story and embracing your story, and and helping revitalize and transform and revive people with your mindfulness, holistic health
Mhm.
coaching. And so I'm sure I would love to be a fly on the wall in some of your sessions with your private one-on-one clients. I've seen some of the group setting stuff, but basically bullet point style, what do you do if someone like me, if I signed on with you, what
Mhm.
are the things that you do just so we can, I want to send a million people your way.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so I specifically really like helping women who struggle with food anxiety and body image
Mhm.
challenges, as well as working professionals who are dealing with like burnout, stress, and unhealthy lifestyle habits. So those are two of the kind of audiences that I'm operating in right now. One of my clients, he is in his 40s and works in Hollywood, and does a bunch of research. So was always very stressed out and burnt out, right? So somebody like that could really use some mindfulness stuff,
Mhm.
mindfulness-based practices to help them slow down, more concrete lifestyle changes, if you will. But there's also always deeper things than that. Nothing is ever as it seems. So that brings me to women who struggle with body image and food anxiety, right? Disordered eating habits. There's a reason for why we do what we do. Emotional eating, for example, one of the biggest challenges that I went through, that I think a lot of women go through, that all comes from somewhere. Let's
Mhm.
say that, cheesecake is your big thing that everyone that's like you have a slice of cheesecake after dinner every night. Maybe it's because you're stressed, right? And that you're working so hard that you don't feel like you have time for yourself. But then if you go deeper than that, it's because you feel unsafe, right?
Mhm.
And cheesecake was something that your mom always made for you as a kid, and you loved it. It was like your birthday treat, right? And it always made you feel so loved and so safe. So now as an adult, you're having cheesecake all the time, and you don't know why because you lean on it.
Yeah.
So we go through a 12-week program. We sit down every week for an hour at a time. Your first session is 90 minutes because we want to get deeper, build that connection and really understand what your story is.
Mhm.
And everything that I do is client led. So it's whatever they want to work on. So I have these clients set 3 specific goals, and it could be, to calm the mind down, to really be present in your surroundings. It could be weight loss and, sleeping better, sleeping more.
Mhm.
And based off of those goals, we kind of create this 12-week program. We go through everything from a life audit, which is something that I do with all my clients. I break things down into different domains. So physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, occupational, and intellectual health. Because as a holistic health coach, I look at the whole person. If you were to only just look at, food or diet and exercise, you're not going to get a full picture,
Mhm.
right? Everything is combined. Everything is intertwined and connected in some way. So we want to start with one place, and based off of that domain, typically it's physical, mental health.
Mhm.
We build out that program. So starting with the mindset, making sure that you're in the right mind space to even start a new change, right? People want to lose weight. People want to start working out 3, 4 times a week, but how many people actually get there? Why do New Year's resolutions fail? Why do only, like 4 or 5% of the United States reach their New Year's resolution goals?
Yeah.
It's because it's not planned well at all.
Whoa, what,
People
guys, pause
people
on that.
don't. Yeah.
Listen to that.
Yeah, people don't plan it. People do not have the strategy to actually succeed. And it's at no fault of theirs. It's literally just a lack of infrastructure that they are going off of. And what that leads to is failure time and time and time again. Why do you lose 10 pounds, gain it back, and then do the same thing again? It's not a sustainable routine that is meant for you. So going through SMART goals, right? A structure like that, where you're setting something very specific, actionable, measurable, achievable, realistic, something that you actually want to achieve and make it time bound. Something like that can really set someone else for success. But I think the biggest part of all of it is to celebrate the process,
Mhm.
celebrate the little wins. Just like in business and in life, you can't actually get anywhere unless you celebrate those little wins. Because when you look at somebody, typically we're like, oh my gosh, you like work at Google, that's amazing. That's so cool. How do they do that, right? You put them on this pedestal. But what you don't see is all the little things that they had to do and all the little wins that they had to achieve to get to that point. Everything from mindset to actually concrete, like, education. And skill building to networking, right? More soft skills that are actually more important than, I think, than hard skills are. Um, all of those things in that person's journey were little wins. And so for you, you cannot just focus on the goal at hand. You have to celebrate the process with it.
Mhm.
So that is also a big component of coaching, is being there for people, for their support, to help them see their little wins, that giving them that unconditional positive regard, regardless of like if they hit their weekly goal or whatever, like drinking enough water, right? That's awesome if they can, because they're going to feel the difference. But if not, we talk about why, we give them the support that they need, and we keep going.
Yeah. Honestly, that was like the best sales pitch. I'm going to give you the transcript so you can use that in your content. Like, that was so good.
Great,
Like, yes,
great.
yes, 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 yes. So if I am a serial goal setter, which I am, I
Yes.
I like achiever, Enneagram, like
Yeah.
full on. I have 75 goals for each day, and my husband has to have them
Hmm.
too because I'm trying to make him be a goal. It's just like aggressive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So let's just say there's a lot of people out there like me. I know for a fact because half of the people I talk to on a daily basis are the same.
Yep.
Let's say there's a big goal. So give us a little inside look. So if I've got a big goal and I have tried a bunch of times, but I've failed,
Yep.
what are like 1, 2, 3 tips that you would give a person? This is obviously giving away some
Yeah.
content, but like, what are those
No,
things you
it's
would
fine.
say for me or whoever to
Yeah.
actually achieve that goal that they've been thinking about all year, all month, or all week, or whatever?
Yeah. So that's a really common challenge that you bring up. And like you were saying, you have like 75 different things on your to-do list, right? So I think one big pitfall that people have is setting too many goals. That is definitely a thing. So I think why
Like,
that happens
scratch my
though,
whole page for today.
I think why that happens though is like because we conflate the ideas of what a goal is and what a to-do list item is. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like something like to do laundry today. It's like a to-do list item, but also a goal. So it's like,
Yeah.
it just ends up making your whole list like a CVS receipt. I don't know.
Yeah.
So one tip that I have for that is to first and foremost, I really identify what your goals are. And good goals to me means that it's something that is value driven, that is bigger than um, just yourself, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's bigger than just like laundry, right? Do my laundry by the end of the day is not a goal. Being able to maintain a clean household so that I can feel comfortable and safe in my space, that is a goal, right?
Yeah.
That's like a desire. And you can break that down into the process goals of, okay, maybe I'll do laundry like, this time, this time, this time.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the tasks to get to your goal. So the first thing is to differentiate what is it that you actually want, and then differentiate between like what is it that you actually need to do. There's also the idea of the 80-20 rule, right? That
Mm-hmm.
80% of your results is dictated by 20% of your effort.
Yeah.
So being able to really hone in on what is the thing that's going to move the needle the furthest in your action. And if it's something that, seems really, it's like your BHAG, right? Your big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah.
What is the smallest step that you can take to get to where you want to go? That I think breaks it down so much because what people think is a small step is actually a big, big step,
Yeah.
right? Like, for example, if you want to lose 10 pounds,
Yeah.
or let's say you want to set up a newsletter, right, for those entrepreneurs out there, um, you can think that your first small step is to get 100 people on your list,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is not a small step. That is a big leap. That
Yeah.
is a leap and a bound and a jump like all the way across Antarctica. Like that is a big, big goal. Now, maybe you break it down into like, okay, what are the small steps that are going to go into that?
Yeah.
So maybe the first step is actually to just choose a server that you want to host your email address on, right? And that is going to already be a task in itself that's going to take a couple hours maybe because there's so many options out there.
Yeah.
So that it would be the smallest step that you think is achievable, that you're like, yes, I can do this. Let me do this today, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely where I would say to start off with goals.
Okay, so you did the entrepreneur one. Let's say for the people that want to lose 10 pounds, they think that's
Yes,
a small goal. They're like, oh, I'll
yes.
just do these things. So break that down 3 levels to what would their first step be then?
Yeah, so I actually just did this with a client on Monday because she's like, wants to lose weight, very
Yeah.
classic goal. And I'm like, what's the smallest step that you can take? And she's like, maybe start cooking for myself. And I'm
Ooh.
like, really? Okay, that's a really awesome goal to have.
Yeah.
But if you look at your lifestyle, right, she's ordering out almost every single day, is a student, doesn't have that much time. There's a reason why she hasn't been doing that, even though she really has been wanting to for a long time.
Okay.
And I think that's where this self-awareness piece comes in, is that people have to be really, truly honest with yourself. And that's why this self-work is so difficult to do alone, because it's hard to truly look in the mirror and see all the habits that you currently have that aren't serving you, and to be able to let them go. So where we actually ended up starting was making sure that she drank enough water, because she drank less than 64 ounces of water a day. Right. So
This
it
is like
literally,
my
yeah.
if I can do 3 of these, I feel good about myself. Okay, go
Exactly.
on.
No, but that is exactly where like one small step is, right?
Yeah.
To make sure you fill up your water bottle 3 times a day. It's something super easy to track, it's tangible, and
Yeah.
it's something that's achievable because it doesn't take too much out of your day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were to try to meal prep now, that's a whole thing, because now you have to figure out a grocery list. You have to figure out what you actually want to make, how to cook. Do you even know how to cook? What equipment do you need, right? It's this
Yeah.
whole big, hairy, audacious goal. So it's really taking the time to go down those levels of like what is truly a small step. And
Yeah.
I think where it comes from too is that people don't give themselves enough credit for what they do.
Mhm.
They think that in order to have an amazing morning routine, you have to get up, make your bed, get up at 7 a.m., make your bed, have coffee, be able to meditate, read the news, catch up with like your friends, and then like start work, whatever it is. Whereas if you just take a breath and
Mhm.
relax, your first step in your morning might be to just make your bed. Okay, and then maybe your goal is to get up at the same time every day because that's really good for your circadian rhythm, right? It's good
Mhm.
for your health. Um, so it's just what you want to make of it, but
Yeah.
really break it down.
Yeah. This is so key. So you've given a ton of resources and a ton of things to think about. Is there other tips and tricks or resources that you're loving right now?
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot. I use a
I know.
lot of systems in my business. So that is, I think, one thing that is key that I wish I would have focused a little bit more on when I started, which is really creating a system for success, for growth. For me, starting off, I was kind of just like, okay, like what is it that I might need to do? What tools might I need? And just going off with like whatever I could find and like afford to. But I think it's worth it to sit down and actually think about what systems do you want in place for growth. Like envision yourself already at the place that you want to be and what are the things that you're doing there.
Yeah.
Right. So a couple of things that I really like is for my email list, I use Active Campaign.
Mhm.
I really enjoy them. I
You
used to
went
be on
hard
MailChimp.
fast. You went to active
Yeah.
campaign right away. See, that's it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
So I was actually, yeah, I was on Active Campaign right away because I had gotten a recommendation from someone that I had worked with to check out Active Campaign versus MailChimp. So that was really helpful. And I will say I did work with a business coach for a few months, and that was really crucial too. So that's where I say too, like, if you're really serious about investing in your business, about starting off of on a good foot, like one of the reasons why you were saying that it seems like I just have like all this stuff together from like my business side is like with like my entrepreneurship minor and society is because I had those support systems. I had
Yeah.
that knowledge. I had other people to tap into for that help. So I would really encourage anybody who is truly serious about starting a business is to create that relationship first, to find somebody who is even in the same space as you. I was working with a personal trainer back in Michigan with
Yeah.
my sister for a little bit, and he has become a really great friend of ours and was one of my biggest resources when I started personal training was like, hey, like, what do you do if a client has this challenge? Or like, how do you talk about price raising, like,
Mhm.
raising your prices with your clients? That
Yeah.
was a big thing. And to have that support is really important.
Yeah.
So back to the tools. So people, first of all, resources, really big one. Um, Tools and apps and stuff. I use Canva to
Mhm.
create a lot of creative material. I love their site. You can like save your own brand colors and everything. In terms of, let's see, organization, I live and die by Google Calendar. Like I
Yes.
cannot live without GCal. It is amazing. So get on that. Like
Color
that is like
coding and everything, right?
yes,
Do you
yes.
have your day down to like segments?
Yeah, I do. So what I can do is I can actually I think I can flip my camera around. So I have it up right now. Like you can see this
Yeah,
is my
that's how
week
mine
this
looks.
week and
Uh-huh.
like last week. So I have everything color coded with like clients and like to-do list tasks, my responsibilities, like personal life responsibilities,
Yeah.
friends and stuff. Well, I'll even book in like friends and fun time, which I think is really important for people to do because when you do start off running a business, you'll never be done.
No.
There's always like for until the time you die, there will always be something to do, literally. So it's important to stop, take a breath, and really put yourself first. Be like, what do
Yeah.
I need today? Serve yourself first, pay yourself first, because without you, your business will fail,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So GCal is really good for that. And let's see, what else do I use?
Something that came up when you were talking is I'm thinking it's Simon Sinek. Is it Start with Why? Yeah.
Yes,
That book,
yes,
how you were talking about, you
yeah,
have to know your why. So Start with Why
yeah,
by Simon Sinek
yeah.
comes to mind, and then
There's a
Uh,
good TED talk on that too, I think, by like
yeah,
Simon did a TED talk about it, and he drew out
yeah,
like the diagram.
cool. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some really great books out there too.
the other thing
Um,
that I was thinking about while you were talking, and maybe you got it from this, but I'm reading The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Who
hmm,
is it by? How do I not know? It's spiritual based, but
hmm,
with some great tips and tricks. So, open to everyone. But the thing
yeah.
he was talking about is maybe in our modern world, it's 12:40. We need to get you off. Do you have a hard stop? Usually I have a meeting at 12:30, but I don't right now. Do you
Okay.
have?
My hard stop is at 1, so
Okay,
yeah.
we'll give it a few more minutes. But
Yeah.
he's talking about when you touched on slowly, like everyone's like, I want to start my day at 6 a.m. I want to do
Yeah.
all these things, da, 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 da. And maybe that's not actually something our bodies need or should be
Mm-mm.
doing, and extending like our days from 6 to whatever, because back in the day,
Hmm.
before time and clocks and all those different things, you rose with the sun and you went down with the sunset, and the days were shorter. People were getting 11, 12 hours of sleep, um, and doing a lot more in their days. And so like maybe all of this efficiencies and trying to like get our bodies to do all these things, maybe there's a lot less pressure that we should be putting ourselves
Yeah.
on. And like you said, focusing on the most important things, and then kind of, creating our days that way. So
100%. Yeah. I've never read that book, but that concept I definitely abide by. I have slowed down my mornings significantly since
yeah,
graduating, because I do have more time for myself. And it's like, why is it that even are an entrepreneur, right? Typically, it's not so that you can work 24/7 without any breaks and like burnout, right? You're
yeah,
doing it so that you have more freedom in your
yeah,
schedule, so that you have more time for yourself, that you have a say in your life. And so that realization was really pivotal for me because I love slow mornings. I do not, if I can help it, I won't schedule anything in the morning. Like the most I have is like one client on Wednesdays mornings at 9 a.m. and that's it.
yeah.
Otherwise, I will take my time. I will make my matcha every single morning, a matcha oat milk latte. I will have my breakfast. I'll take a few deep breaths, meditate if I want to. And
Yeah.
that is another tool that I really highly recommend is Headspace or
Love
Calm,
it.
like
Yeah.
whatever meditation tool or breathwork tool that you have, taking the time to literally just like you
Home.
feel the difference.
Did you say home?
Calm.
Calm. Okay, yes. I was like,
Calm is
okay,
another meditation,
okay,
yeah, app.
yes. Okay, let's
Yeah.
do a quick couple deep breaths
Hmm.
and close this because this has been incredible. So,
Yeah,
can you
for
guide us in
sure.
like a couple second thing?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Just go ahead, get settled in your seat, have your feet on the ground, hands on your thighs, palms up or palms down, up to you. Have a soft gaze in front of you, just noticing what you have. Try to note 5 different things. Really see them, appreciate them for what they are, and then gently closing your eyes. Take a deep breath in through the nose for a count of 4. Hold your breath. Exhale for a count of 6. Again, in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And as you continue to breathe, just notice how your body feels. Notice the airflow coming in and out of the body. And whenever you're ready, you can gently open the eyes with the soft gaze in front of you.
That was so good. At first, I'm like, wait, like rest your face.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is so
Yeah.
hard to be doing on a live, but I love this so much. And then after like second or third breath, I'm like, whoa, okay, that actually worked. I feel so much better. But I kept
Yeah.
like peeking, like, are we done yet? See, that's
Yeah.
what's hard is the more you do, the better you get at that, I'm sure. Because
Yes.
I'm just thinking about my to-do list and I'm like, okay, faster breaths, but calm down.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just really prioritizing the one big thing that you have to do today. That's
Yeah,
it. The one. Just not three, not four, not two. One.
yeah.
One big thing. And that's it. If you get the rest done, it's just a cherry on top.
Exactly. Jen, this was so, so helpful. So much fun to hang out today.
Yeah, I'm so glad to be on here and like share all this stuff with you. Thanks for having me on. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I hope that, this helped you and your audience.
Yes, yes, this is great. And I'll put all the ways to get in touch with Jen Sway. Get on her email list, watch her content, sign up for her program, guys. She knows what she's doing, and you can tell from what she just said. So this is awesome. Thank you, Jen. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.